writes. You know what I mean? So like he's writing things and if he wants to get rid of a character, he can like throw the paper in the fire and that character will disappear. Gotcha. Or like he's written like certain characters like his wife and some other women and stuff, or certain characters, and he keeps them in a safe, so that paper in a safe. But yeah, it reminded me a lot of that.
There's a comic similar to that, and I can't think of the name of it, where it was a writer basically that all the creatures he wrote came to life.
Yeah, so this is a trope. That's
or the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black. Your choice.
There you go.
Well, after this happens, this is where he goes into the bar and he sees Home Dude.
Yeah.
And like literally everything's all fucking going crazy at that point.
Right. Yeah, there's like no one in the bar and he's all bloodied and sitting in the corner.
Up. Yeah, I just wanted my boy back.
He's like, see this is what my daughter did to me.
Yeah. Then he blows his fucking head off.
A child did this to me. My own daughter. Yeah, that's crazy.
He's like, don't shoot yourself. He wrote me this way. Yeah. And then all you see is just the blood. It's just a bunch of blood fall down his hand.
Yep. Then he goes outside and there's all those people out there, which is fucking weird too, because he's trying to escape and trying to get out of there. And then he goes into a circle. Then he eventually runs back into her, doesn't he? Styles at that point, because he goes back to the hotel.
And she's all no. Because
she tries to make out with him.
Yeah, she tries to make out with him in the car, and then he kicks her out or whatever.
Oh wait, no, is that the point where? Yeah, because she comes out and she punches him, and he punches her and then puts her in the car,
knocks her out, and then throws him over his shoulder.
Isn't that where she eats the keys?
Yeah, she eats the keys and her head turns around.
Fastest hot wire job ever.
Yeah, dude.
Give me. I think he just had like a Phillips screwdriver too.
Not even that.
He
was a wallet ninja. Yeah, he had a fucking wallet ninja, and he fucking started the goddamn car.
He's like, I got this. I got it.
He's literally right there, and then she swallows the keys. And then that's when basically she goes nuts and she does that contortion shit where she's upside down and
crab walk
fucking backwards
with her head on backwards.
Yeah, which I read that contortionist that did that had the mask on backwards.
It's just an upside down mask. It's not even
fucking cool looking though.
It does look cool, but it's not like that complicated.
No. It was a very good practical effect for that shit.
Yeah,
and it works good. And then he ends up back at Kane's place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then Jurgen Punch now. Sutter Cane. Then he starts explaining his master plan to everything, which is fucking weird. And basically he's telling him that he is a character in the book.
Yeah.
He's like, you are one of my characters. I wrote you this way. Yeah. And she even says something about it too. Like, he wrote me this way. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And everybody's just like, they know at that point after they read that. But he still doesn't, because he hasn't ever read the thing yet.
Right.
So he doesn't see it. That's again where you get into, because we skipped over the part where he goes back to the hotel and in the basement. That goes with the something in the cellar book.
Yes.
Because he goes down there and the old lady's got a fucking axe and that's when she's going after her husband. That's when he bolts out and he's doing all this fucking crazy shit. But that's before.
And you're not, let's real quick adapting, like when he goes back up the room to tell Styles.
Yeah.
We see the tentacles come out.
Yeah.
So at that point, okay, since we've kind of Tarantino'd back a little bit, you see the tentacles come out, she comes out, whatever, right? When she punches you in the mouth in the middle of town, I would not have taken that bitch with me.
No. It'd have been like, you're gone.
Out, whore.
Yeah. Sorry, lady, I don't know you that well.
Exactly.
Are you covered under insurance?
2 days ago. Yeah. Fuck off.
I'll make sure they pay your insurance because I'm the insurance investigator. So cool. You're good. Later.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So we got a little out of order on that, but I thought that was a big crux where I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing?
But you can see how they're following his books too, because they go to something in the cellar. And then they get into where he's back at the church with Sutter Cane.
Yeah, he gets into he tries to leave town. He keeps coming back to the center of town. He gets into a car accident or whatever because he can't leave town.
Because he can't hit fucking the girl. That's exactly what it was. Because he was just finally, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to drive through here. And then all of a sudden there's Styles.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude. You already saw she had tentacles. Yeah.
It's like,
just hit that bitch and get the hell out
maybe
of
he's
there.
scared to wrap around that car.
That's not how he was written.
Yeah, it's not. So he wakes up and that's where Kane. So he wakes up in the church where Kane was writing the novel earlier, and he says, Kane tells him that because of the power that the people believe in his novels and his stories, it's like freed some ancient monster or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Monsters from this void area that's beyond this door.
Ancient door.
And it's this pulsating door, which is probably one of the coolest effects in the movie.
Which is the breathing tunnel too.
Yes.
That's the link to the outside world. That's from no reality to, or this alternate reality to reality that Trent knows. But at that point, he still doesn't believe it, and he's carrying the fucking manuscript, and he falls.
Well, he gives him the manuscript because he tells him, "You're a character in my book, Trent. Now I gotta go."
Yeah. And then he rips his face open. But before that, too, he's looking in the void. He's actually literally looking inside that void of nothing. And you could see the horror on his face as things start getting closer.
Yeah,
and you can't see him.
Right.
So you can just allude to that, just like, oh my God, there must be something big. And he's like, I can't hold him back any longer. And then that's when he puts his hand in his eyeball and rips it like a page.
It's definitely a 90s optical effect where it
but whenever he
away.
rips his face off too, you see the words written on the back of it too.
Sure, yeah.
So he's actually breaking into that, and then that's when that big giant effect of all the monsters are on the big track.
And they're coming down. He's running through the hallway. Falls with, like you said, back to what you said. He falls with the manuscript and them damn slippery boots.
Yeah, yeah. Why is he wearing floor shine zipper boots?
I don't know. And his badass Levi's.
You're right. Well, at least he didn't get a skinned knee and shit. Then he wakes up out in the middle of nowhere, right? And then that's where Darth Vader shows up. God knows.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, it's a galaxy far, far away.
He says, "Have you ever heard of Hobbs?" Cool, because he sees the man. He's in the middle of the road. He has the manuscript. Boy comes up, "Are you all right, mister?" And it's have you ever heard of Hobbs End? And he's like,
yeah, he gives him a weird look and then he rides away.
So at the moment you think everything is good,
and that's the tie-in right there.
Well, see, then,
Star Wars.
See, then he goes to the hotel the first time, and then at that point too, he's gotten rid of the book.
Yeah.
When he saw,
he goes back to his hotel in the town they were staying at before, or he gets a hotel room on his way back to the city or whatever. But then
somehow he gets the manuscript again.
Yeah, he throws the
Mr.
manuscript
Trent?
out, and the guy's like, "Hey," and he's like, "No one knows I'm here." And he's like, "Well, someone does," and it's the book again, so
he can't
get rid of it.
Kid. Yeah, he gets pissed off at the kid at the front desk.
Yeah.
And then his dad comes out and he's like, what's the matter here, mister? And he's like, nothing. And then he goes and burns the book again. Then he's on the bus. And that's when Sutter Cane shows up and is like, did I ever tell you my favorite color is blue? This is a weird thing, too, that I read. Every close-up scene of the main characters, they all have blue eyes.
They all have blue eyes because they're all being written
by Sutter Cane. So that's another thing that you have to look for when you're watching this. And when you see these little things tying together, everything works really good.
Absolutely.
But then he finally gets back to New York, and he's still kind of like, what the fuck's going on, right? And he's sitting in Jackson Harklow's office.
And does it jump cut, or does he? Yeah, it kind of jumps cut, and it's like he's explained the whole thing to Charlton Heston's character, Jackson.
And he's like, "You delivered the manuscript
weeks ago."
And he's what?
Yeah. He's
Who's
like,
Styles?
He's like,
what the fuck?
He's like, you delivered it months ago. It's been published for 7 weeks.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He's like, it's been out for 7 weeks. There's a movie in post-production.
Yeah, they're making the movie.
That's
right now, and everything. Yeah,
and he's like, he just has this look on his face like, oh man, we are effed.
Yeah, what the fuck? And that's when he starts going down his path of craziness to wherever he has the axe.
And he essentially looks like the guy from the beginning with the trench coat.
Into that, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So essentially, Sam Neill becomes the guy who attacked him in the beginning with the axe through the plate glass window. He's wearing a long trench coat. He's disheveled. He looks pale. He walks up to a guy buying a book on the street, another nerdy dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, this will do, or something. And he whips the axe.
The dude's eyes bleeding, too.
Yeah.
His eyes are bleeding at this point, too, because he's in the book. He's reading the book. He's like, huh.
People all over the world are being like entranced in this hysteria. You know what I mean? Because they're reading these novels and it's making everyone fucking go nutty.
It's changing reality.
Yeah. And this is when Sam Neill whips out the axe and like, he just brings it down hardcore and someone starts screaming in the background. And then that obviously brings us to,
boom, we're right back.
We're right back where we started, bookend. Now we're back to caught up and he's in the cell telling the story to
David Warner.
And that last one kind of goes into the Hunter Out of Time part of the book. You can kind of fit that in there somehow for the last of Sutter Cane's books, because he was out of time, but he became a hunter at that point too, because he killed Home Dude for that,
and he knows there's no time left.
Yeah, so that's how they can wrap up those themes. but you still haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness yet.
Right.
He hasn't read it yet.
Right.
And that's when we find out that, that's where he's sitting there and it's raining outside and he's still smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then the power goes out in the insane.
That's after he gets done talking to the doctor too, because the doctor's all right, well, cool, we'll wrap it up. This is fucking weird. And then then everything goes out. He wakes up and the door's open. Doesn't somebody break the glass or something like that? Or...
There's like someone screaming and running in the background.
Yeah. And then the door's open and he walks out and he's like, I'm all alone. And then there's the ambulances sitting there and you still hear the things going on. He's just walking around.
He's just let out. The power's been out for a while. The world is clearly in ruins. Right. There's like an ambulance sitting there, like fires burning and smoke.
And then he goes to the movie theater. Bam.
And he walks down the street to the same kind of set that you saw earlier on the alley, the alley scene. And there's a theater playing, In the Mouth of Madness, directed by John Carpenter.
Starring John Trent.
Yeah, written by Michael DeLuca. It even says it on the Blu-ray. You can really see it if you pause it. All the credits are there.
It's him, but in that art style too. Right. It's the whole art style of all of Sutter Cane's books, which is pretty cool too. So.
Absolutely.
The poster is. Yeah. And then we cut to him walking down the aisle with popcorn. The movie's playing. Who knows how he got it to play.
It was an autoplay.
Yeah. Well,
it was just written that way.
Yeah. It was just written that way.
Yeah.
And then he starts watching the events of the movie play out on the movie screen that he's now watching. And he laughs maniacally while we cut to black, and it gets that
like it hits a song
guitar.
Did Carpenter do the music on this?
Yeah, John Carpenter music. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That scene was so iconic too, because he's sitting there and he's like, looks like he's like almost a tourist.
Yeah,
and then he's just sitting there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh,
and he's still in his own movie.
He's still in the hospital garb. You know what I mean? He's still in the scrubs.
Yeah,
and his last laugh is really looks like he starts to cry there before it goes to.
Because he realizes that now he's read the book.
He's
essentially too late,
and that's how everything got
reality crumbles
everywhere. Because as soon as the movie came out, that's when everything went to shit, pretty much.
Because one of the lines earlier is, "What about the people that don't read? Wouldn't they be safe?" And he says, "There's a movie."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The movie just came out.
Well, he says that to the doctor. He says, "What about if your story is true? Can't people just not read it?" When he's telling the doctor, and he's like, "There's a movie."
Yeah. And that brings you into the destruction of reality there. Yep. The whole movie is such a mind fuck. Whenever you get to the end of it, and I think, in 94, I was still like 13 years old. And at that point, seeing that movie, I'd seen all the other John Carpenter movies up until then. And then seeing this one, I was like, wow, what a tremendous, I don't know, it's a slick, tremendous, just good looking movie. You know what I mean?
It is slick. It's short. It's right to the, I don't think it's too long. It doesn't feel long.
Isn't it like 91 minutes or something?
95 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I said, it didn't make a lot of money, but he had less money, but more creative control. And this allowed him to give you that kind of cool, twisted downer ending, which is like, maybe people didn't get it, maybe they did, but that's not for him to say, you know what I mean? When they're
that's
making
definitely his trademark.
Yeah, exactly.
With those three movies in that apocalypse, because the first one, they leave it so ambiguous that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then in Prince of Darkness, they end it to where it was kind of anticlimactic, but not really. Once you really look into it, you look into it and you're like, okay. And then this one, you're like, holy shit.
Right. It's over.
Damn. Yeah. Everything is done at that point. So what's left? And
again, the Lovecraftian influences, I like that because as far as I can tell, there are some H.P. Lovecraft adaptations out there. I know of a few of them. I'm not going to go into that tangent right now, but you've never seen like a bigger budget one. I know there was going to be a Guillermo del Toro movie with Tom Cruise at the Mountains of Madness. And
how many Del Toro movies were there going to be?
Jesus, so many. And
Del Toro's in post-production or pre-production.
Right.
Pre-production, exactly.
50 million films.
Well, one of the drafts for that script is actually online. I've got through about 100 pages of it or 60 pages of it. It's pretty cool. I wish they would have made that movie. You know what I mean? And so this movie, In the Mouth of Madness, you get Sam Neill, awesomely dressed, to the nines. Can't compete with that. And you get a little bit of taste of that Lovecraft universe. And that's kind of the whole point is you can't really even, because glimpsing that, staring into the void is going to drive you crazy, right?
Exactly. That's the whole idea.
So you only get that little taste, and this movie's always given me that, I guess, since I saw it.
Oh, I think the first time I saw it was on home video, which with a lot of John Carpenter movies, you see them on home video first. And like I've always said, they grow legs at that point. That's when they really start grabbing onto people, because people are like, oh, well, it's better than the fucking shitty blockbuster rental that I was about to get. So this is a John Carpenter movie? Cool.
I actually watched